Hey guys, welcome to our first full week of the month of April astrology, and it is another big one. There's a lot of significant things happening this week and this month. Of course, we are in another very transitional period of time, endings and beginnings, and maybe some unexpected or sudden ways. Primary themes this month, huge emphasis on release from karmic and past patterns, huge emphasis on rebirth as well. As we are starting this week, you guys, there may be some raw emotional energy. We may feel a little bit vulnerable. We may feel kind of sensitive. The sun is coming into a conjunction with Chiron this week. We also have Mars and the South Node and an exact trine in water signs to start our week. Saturn is right there as well, rounding out or triangling out this grand trine in water signs that is creating this period of time, actually all month long, that is about some active release from past karmic patterns, and we'll talk about that. We also have Mercury entering the sign of Taurus today. This is a major vibe shift. Energy is likely to shift from being more like combative and confrontational to more sort of stubborn and willful and determined. So this is going to change things up for us a little bit as well. We've got to talk about that. We've got the moon forming a trine to Uranus today as well. So, expect the unexpected. There could just be some random things going on that actually seem to be like moving things forward for us in one way or another. So lots to talk about today, you guys. Opening our first week of April, moving us through this energy. Let's get into this report, look at this energy in a little bit more detail, and see if we can get an idea of what things might look like for us on the ground in our experience today. Welcome back to my channel, you guys. Today is Monday, April 3rd, 2023. My name is Aubrey. This is your astrological outlook of the day, where we are narrating the shift of the ages. We've got a shift of ages going on right now, you guys. We are transitioning paradigms. We are headed towards the age of Aquarius, and this month of April 2023 is playing a significant role in that process. We're here to talk about it. If you guys stick with me also till the end of this report, I have also done a collective tarot card reading for us. I like to sort of tap into the energy field from more than one modality whenever I am analyzing energy on a daily basis, just to sort of get a check from a couple different directions so that we can get a more well-rounded perspective of what we have playing out for us energetically. So we're going to be doing that at the end as well, but let's start with this astrology. Now, like I said, we've got a couple of things going on today that we need to talk about. First of all, number one, Mercury entering the sign of Taurus. This is the vibe shift we've got going on. We've also got this exact trine going on between Mars and the South Node today, both at 5 degrees of water signs, but then we also have Saturn at 4 degrees of Pisces. This is the third water sign, so we've got almost an exact grand trine in water going on as well between Mars, South Node, Saturn. So we've got the exactness between the trine, Mars, South Node, and Saturn's only 1 degree off. This is a powerful influence as well, you guys. This is one of the things that is bringing up these past issues so that we can release, move on, and most importantly, wisdom gained through experience is the whole push right now, you guys. This is a karmic reckoning. This is, an opportunity for us to really, like, once and for all cut ties with the past and break free from like generational trauma, or like what may have been perceived as like generational curses or generational karma, like all that type of stuff. Like, this is the opportunity for us to graduate from like the past attachments associated with that, okay? But I feel like it's going to like happen in terms of like us being given opportunities to demonstrate the wisdom that we've gained through experience. Like, what choice are you going to make this time, presented sort of with the same patterns or opportunities? Like, are we going to actively practice, what we've gained from the experiences of the past to move us in this new direction so that we don't fall into these past patterns? So we'll get into that as well. I feel like that is something that is coming up this week and all month, actually, because this trine in water signs, especially Mars, will move out of it, but the South Node and Saturn, both representing karma, both representing the past, both having ties to time itself, going to be present with us throughout the course of this entire month of April. So this is a major theme. This is a major lesson. Aside from that, today we also have the sun, of course, building into a conjunction with Chiron. That's going to be happening this week as well in the sign of Aries. And this is another thing that is triggering, past woundings and unhealed trauma within us. And, how can we apply the wisdom that we've gained through experience through the process of, going through this pain or enduring this trauma, how are we going to heal from it? How are we going to overcome? Like, how are we going to transcend out of it so that the past doesn't perpetually determine our future? Exiting, okay, loops of psychic understanding and subconscious programming where the past determines our future. That is what, on a greater collective energetic and vibrational level, we are being assisted with these trines, this facilitating energy on detaching ourselves from, overcoming, alchemizing through, transcending out of, as we are going through these activations this week and throughout the course of this month. So that we have to talk about as well. And then finally, we do have a moon Uranus energy going on today. The moon is in Virgo, which is ruled by Mercury, who's moving into Taurus, right? Uranus is also in the sign of Taurus right now, aspecting the moon. So we've got this mental, emotional, sort of like grounded and centered, focused alignment on the future playing out today as well. And there could be some disruptions or some just like unusual happenings that seem to be moving us forward or like opening things up for us perhaps in one way to move forward somehow today in the energy field as well. So once again, you know, as has been sort of the norm over these past several weeks, we have energy coming into play today that is simultaneously indicating release, endings, detachment, but also new beginnings, where we're going, and a desire to do something new and different. So we're going to be talking about these simultaneous themes today, how they're coming together, because that ultimately is, I feel like, what the energy presented today, opening our week of April and moving through this month, is indicating for us. So number one, though, we're going to start by talking about Mercury's entrance into Taurus. Mercury is a personal planet. This rules our mind, our thoughts, what we're talking about, where we are mentally geared. Mercury in the sign of Aries, that's the sign of the battlefield and the warrior. It's a fire sign. You know, people are very assertive, very courageous, very, you know, risk-oriented, not running from a fight, much more confrontational, much more combative, okay? We've got Mercury, the messenger planet, also in the sign of the warrior, in the sign of the battlefield, in the sign of, you know, courage and strength and the masculine energy. Now we have Mercury moving into the sign of Taurus. This is turning down the heat a little bit, okay? Like, this is taking the fire, like diminishing the fire that may have been lit underneath us to, you know, speak our mind or say how we feel or stand up for ourselves over this past couple weeks. People may have been like just quite fiery and quite assertive in their communication styles. This is definitely going to sort of just like turn that flame down, turn that heat down a little bit. It's so funny as well because we have the Earth today at 14 degrees of Libra on Monday as Mercury enters the sign of Taurus, which is on this mental level, like cooling things off a bit. And that Sabian symbol is the heat. In the heat of the noon hour, a man takes a siesta. And of course, Taurus sort of is the sign of like relaxation and like can have to do with just like sort of kicking back and resting and sort of just enjoying the splendors of our life around us. So there is a kind of clear messaging coming through, maybe just a little bit of guidance we can apply in our various situations today. You know, if things do feel a bit heated, like if we do feel like we're sort of, you know, coming to that point a little bit today, sort of stepping back, you know, walking away, taking a little time out, giving ourselves a little bit of break, could benefit us in some context as we're going throughout our experience. So even the Sabian symbol is the Earth, the position on the ground, sort of talking about, you know, turning down the heat today and maybe stepping out, taking a break, and not allowing ourselves to get like really too carried away by anything that may be like going on in the moment. So we've got that going on, but yeah, it's just going to be creating this vibe shift generally. This is a fixed sign. Taurus is a fixed sign. It's the stubborn mental energy, okay? Practical, down-to-earth concerns, much more likely to be occupying sort of our mental sphere. Money, food, comfort, resources, projects, music, art, beauty, aesthetics generally, material possessions. When we have Mercury in Taurus, like there's a greater emphasis. Remember, we also have Venus in Taurus right now. The North Node is also in Taurus and Uranus is in Taurus. With Venus, the North Node, and Uranus all in Taurus right now, there is a real desire to embrace something new and different, to experience something like of true value for us in a way that we have not maybe experienced it before. Now that we have our mind there as well, we are going to be geared and focused towards like getting what we want, and what we want has to do with something new, something different, and something that just like really makes us feel stimulated, almost like electrified and alive, especially in regards to like relationship dynamics and money, stuff like that, like how we're making money and our resources and our abundance and, you know, beauty. There could be this could definitely be causing people to sort of want to change up their look as well. There could definitely be like redesigns, okay, going on, maybe just suddenly out of nowhere, like a spontaneous like impulse to just give yourself a makeover, redesign your house, or, you know, redesign your garden or something like that. Like that could definitely be something that is coming through in some big ways over this next couple weeks, with Mercury now transiting the sign of Taurus, but likely to be less conflict oriented, aggressive and assertive communication styles, okay, but more determined, more willful, definitely more stubborn, and less flexible. People less willing to go with the flow of things, more like dead set on what they want, and kind of like only really geared towards that. There is probably likely to be also, though, this like simplifying energy. Taurus is kind of a more simple energy. It can be back to basics. How can I make money? What can I produce? What can I grow? What can I create? Taurus is concerned, this energy is more concerned with like, it needs to feel good, it needs to look good, it needs to smell good, it needs to sound good, like this very sensual and sensory based energy as well, more just like energetically aligned to the various dynamics of the surroundings and how they're impacting the physical senses. Also, this focus perhaps on what we need to work on in order to maybe create a more like beautiful or a more comfortable or a more aesthetically like pleasing or sounding environment somehow. How do we get what we want? Of course, Venus also in the sign of Taurus. Venus what we want, Venus what we desire. Mercury in the same sign, and with the North Node there, this is an alignment to like the next phase of growth, where what we're becoming, our potential true value, and Uranus there as well, like awakening to the truth of value, potential, worth, and a desire to really change things in order to be a better reflection of that beauty or of that worth or of that potential that we're discovering internally. And then with Mercury there, you know, figuring out what we can do with it, how we can use it, this really strong, significant mental focus, okay, on the future, on where we're going, on what we're doing next, and on what we're changing to get there with Mercury, Venus, Uranus, and the North Node in the sign of Taurus. And then it's just so interesting because then we've got this other energy going on. Remember, the South Node is opposing the North Node in the sign of Scorpio. This is a release also, right, from the past, emotional attachments of the past that have been blocking that progress. So, you know, we've got this emotional release going on. It's our emotions that are being stirred in the realms of the past. There could be this nostalgia, or again, these feelings of like would have, should have, could have, or I wish I would have done something different, or, you know, negative feelings that we've got to let go of in terms of like regrets and stuff like that. But simultaneously, mentally, we're geared toward the future. Where am I going next? What can I do next? What can I build? What can I create based on this new perception of value, worth, beauty, potential that I'm discovering now? So that's sort of how this is playing out. It's like, yes, the past and the future simultaneously, but this week in this energy, it's the past on the emotional level, the future on the mental level. Now, also, as I said, to start our week to this week and in the energy today, we also have the moon in the sign of Virgo forming a trine. This is the moon in the sign of Virgo, an earth sign ruled by Mercury, who just entered the sign of Taurus, forming a trine to Uranus in the sign of Taurus. So the moon is ruling our emotions and our feelings, right? But simultaneously also geared towards this mental energy that is approaching like the next steps, the next phase of growth, what we're doing next, where we're being called towards. So, you know, we've got this water sign trine that is facilitating this emotional release, this emotional detachment on these like deep psychic subconscious levels. And we've got this mental alignment with the future that the moon itself, you know, the changes that are happening in our emotional body are also also gearing us towards that future. And in the trine to Uranus, this is the energy that could be bringing in some like sudden changes or just realignments or unexpected information or conversations that are happening that open things up for us somehow, or that change things slightly for us somehow to facilitate our movement towards that future path and away from those past feelings. Okay, so the moon's transit of the sign of Virgo today, I do feel like is actually assisting us in this process of getting in alignment with the direction that we're heading next. Very, very actually earthy energy today with Mercury entering the sign of Taurus, all this Taurus energy, and the moon also in the sign of Virgo. Unexpected ideas, solutions, information, conversation, insights that change things for us. This could be financially and material based as well. But we're likely, over especially this next couple weeks, but also with the moon in an earth sign today as well, talking in an earth sign ruled by Mercury, who's moving into Taurus, like my mind on my money and my money on my mind, talking about money, resources, projects, value, potential, like the future focus that is coming into context right now as Mercury is entering the sign of Taurus, moving towards the North Node, moving towards Uranus, is being exacerbated by the moon's transit through Virgo today. And this could just be also bringing some like unexpected opportunities and insight into how to like translate that potential that we're recognizing into like physical, tangible value. This is really giving us an opportunity to gear ourselves towards what we want to create, build, and become now based on what we're discovering within us, as we are simultaneously detaching ourselves from the old emotional, psychic, subconscious constructs that told us that, for whatever reason we couldn't do it, or we didn't have the power, or we didn't have the value, or we didn't have the potential within us. We are cutting ties with the old versions of ourselves that were unable to recognize the potential within us, and we are becoming the new version of ourselves that is fully capable of not only recognizing that potential, but being able to create a plan or a strategy and have a plethora of ideas to implement in regards to how to translate that potential into physical value, to physical material manifestation somehow. So I feel like that's sort of the progress of this energy over this next couple weeks now, with Mercury in the sign of Taurus. And of course, we are in this transitional period. Things falling away, things coming to fruition. I've been talking about these cascading endings and beginnings that I feel like are going to be following us throughout the course of this 2023, and just once again being indicated in the energy as it's coming together today. Let's talk more specifically now about this exact Mars South Node trine. This is another energy, that is just very much permeating the experience right now, the endings and beginnings, bringing that whole thing into fruition. And Saturn is right there as well. I want to talk specifically about Mars and the South Node because they are in the exact trine together today, but Saturn is literally only 1 degree off. This is a profound, significant, powerful water trine that we have going on. The two great malefics and the South Node, Saturn and Mars, both known as great malefics in ancient astrology. The South Node also not necessarily with like the best connotations in traditional astrology. And when we put all these together in a trine, a facilitating aspect, on one hand, there could be a lot of ugliness rising to the surface right now, but it is going to be because it's the end. Like, this is the end of an era. Again, this is the end of a period of time where perhaps, we're not proud of the consequences of our actions, or we realize that we've made mistakes. It's this karmic reckoning, but it's also this release into a new period of experience where we are not making the same mistakes, we're not taking the wrong turns, where we are learning and gaining wisdom from experience and applying that going forward to release ourselves from the karmic bonds of patterns of the past. So this is another, this is just a dimension of how this period of time is coming together energetically on a frequency basis to facilitate this process. Trines, this is facilitating energy. This is helping things happen. This is an assisting energy. So, all of these traditionally more malefic energies coming together could be facilitating or assisting the rising of those type of things to the surface, like I said. But also it is this purge, it is this release, it is this purification. We've got Pluto, you guys, at the 1st degree of Aquarius. This is about returning power to the individual. We've got to surrender all of the emotional attachments and subconscious complexes and psychic wounds and stuff like that have kept us detached from our own power, or kept us from recognizing our own worth, potential, and power. Pluto moving through Aquarius to me is a lot of the same themes and vibes as Uranus in the sign of Taurus. It's awakening to the truth of this value, awakening to the truth of potential, activating destiny through this place of a newly recognized and perceived like internal personal power. That's where all this is moving us towards. But again, it's like through this, to me, is like the ghost of Christmas past type of energy. Okay, like we may be reliving or re-experiencing or going through some of like the, again, like the mistakes, or you know, just issues with past and issues with the time, and like I wish I would have spent time better, like doing this instead of this, or you know, acting this way instead of this way. But it's happening so that we know how to act going forward, so that we don't make those mistakes again, so that we free ourselves essentially from the burdens associated with the malign behavior or thoughts or feelings of the past that has kept us, right, from becoming who we've been meant to become this whole time. It's all heading in the same place. It's all doing the same things in various ways for us, facilitating the release of past emotional energy patterns. Mars energy in this water signs, this is the emotions, okay? Themes of past actions and conflicts and fights, and where we have been focusing and how we have been using our emotional energy in the past. We're being, you know, this is what we're detaching from and releasing ourselves from as well. Emotional wounding would also be represented by, you know, Mars and Cancer in the trine of the South Node. We are releasing ourselves from this. Simultaneously, the Sun Chiron doing the same thing, bringing up these past wounds so that we can release ourselves, so that we can graduate, so that we can overcome, so that we can figure out how to prevent the past from dictating our future. Again, that is what this is helping us to do. Break out of constructs, okay, where the past played a role in the manifestation of how our future is going. The emotional, psychic, and psychological consequences of our actions coming up in this energy to clear our conscience, release from self-destructive emotional energy through this detachment and rebirth process right now. It's very interesting, and I do actually want to put out a slight word of caution based on some of the symbolism that is also associated with this. There could be themes of loss, endings, you know, release and rebirth very much intertwined in all of this. Sabian symbols, we have Mars at 5 degrees of Cancer. That Sabian symbol is at a railroad crossing. An automobile is wrecked by a train. We have the South Node at 5 degrees of Scorpio. A massive rocky shore resists the pounding of the sea. And we have the North Node at 5 degrees of Taurus, a widow at an open grave. So this, honestly, like this symbolism and combination, there, you know, I feel like it's sort of talking about some like literal, like, you know, train wrecks, or like, I mean, not literal, but like metaphorical train wrecks, maybe like of the past, or that we've created for ourselves through our past action that have been like pounding at us or weighing at us or heavy on our conscience. Like this is our time to, you know, to let it go and to experience maybe even like grieving for the past versions of ourselves, or the things that we are having to let go and to move on from at this point in time, with the understanding that it's also giving us this new opportunity to maybe do things over in a way that is truly in alignment with our soul and feels right, okay? That we feel, you know, is karmically in alignment with our higher self and with our path of growth and with our conscience and where we're going now. This is a clearing of our conscience, I feel like, what this month and what this week is also representing. So, you know, rebirth, this is where we're going, but, you know, loss, endings, and release are big business right now, especially in consideration of the Saturn element that is in this grand trine. Difficult endings could be coming about in terms of commitment, situations that we've been in for long periods of time, belief systems, responsibilities, also limitations pertaining to past actions perhaps, and consequences, and the utilization of our emotional energy. Nostalgia, regret, and past hangups, like I said, could also be things that are sort of weighing kind of heavy on us right now, but it's so that we can learn the lesson, not do that again going forward, and honestly, like, forgive ourselves for the mistakes of the past as well. A lot of forgiveness and allowing ourselves to let go of things. This is really what is going to help us benefit us moving through this period of time. Karmic reckoning, coming face to face with our past actions and our consequences, like the ghost of Christmas past type of energy, but the release from karmic struggles. Using energy and emotions responsibly, moving forward, taking the future more seriously as well. Like that is the flip side of that coin. Like that is what we're learning. And it's so interesting also, you know, with Saturn in the sign of Pisces right now, being accountable to our higher selves, like doing what's right, being accountable, you know, not hiding from difficulties, not running away from our problems. That is also the lesson of Saturn over this next couple of years. So we're kind of getting like an enhanced introduction to Saturn and Pisces right now with this South Node energy, helping us to see what we've done wrong perhaps and take things more seriously, make better choices and decisions, use our energy and use our emotions better moving forward, more mature. This is definitely a maturation process on an emotional level as well. Powerful ability to actively release and resolve past issues and to really help us grow up and make more masterful. It's helping us to come to a more masterful position in our lives and in our reality and in our world, which is also, again, with the Sun Chiron energy in conjunction in the sign of Aries is helping us to do as well. So through taking accountability for past mistakes, we are being blessed and gifted moving forward with the opportunities to demonstrate that we've learned our lessons, that we're ready to move on, and that we're ready to play a more active role in co-creating our reality consciously moving forward. So major themes, you guys, of past and the past wounds, past struggles, past conflicts coming up all week, you know, specifically today, tomorrow, maybe yesterday as well, but to be released and to be surrendered on an emotional level. With Mars in Cancer, themes of both self-protection and internal conflict could also be sort of significant drivers of actions and how people are behaving right now. People are probably honestly going to be kind of touchy and defensive this week as we are clearing this karma. Remember, with all of this Chiron energy as well, like this is just that raw energy, like, and Mercury moving into Taurus, like people may not even want to talk about it. People may just be seeking out more like sensory comforts, maybe like eating or just shopping and stuff like that as like coping mechanisms as we are going through this Grand Trine energy, which again could be just more difficult on an emotional level. Probably stubborn, also focused and determined along the lines of whatever people are working on, whatever we're working on right now and over this next couple weeks with Mercury now moving in the sign of Taurus. There's this definite past focus on an emotional level, but like I said, on this mental level, we are gearing up to move forward, to move on, endings and beginnings. And Chiron conjunct the Sun, this emphasis additionally on past wounds being triggered, what must be done to heal and to release. The bridge between our past selves, past states of victimhood, and our future selves, where we're going, and the states of self-mastery that we are rising into right now. So, you know, raw, sensitive, vulnerable energy people could be dealing with this week, feeling this week as we are sort of crossing this bridge. It's all, I feel like the position of Saturn is kind of describing this as well in the Grand Trine in water that is facilitating this, you know, stepping out of one world, stepping into the other world. Saturn right now is at 4 degrees of Pisces. That Sabian symbol is heavy traffic on a narrow isthmus linking two seaside resorts. So this is like everybody. Like this is like a collective experience. Everyone is sort of transitioning. Heavy traffic, right, between the old and the new emotional bodies and structures and internal frameworks that we're stepping out of and we're stepping into. These two seaside resorts being linked by this narrow isthmus, the seaside, the water, the ocean, the emotional body of things, right? From one to the other, you know, traffic going back and forth. So we are crossing the bridge, we're crossing the isthmus, we're going from, you know, one way of relating and connecting to our emotions to another. We are coming out of states of victimhood. We are moving towards states of self-mastery in the utilization of our emotional energy, Mars in the sign of Cancer. Leaving our old emotional paradigm and transitioning to this new internal vibratory state that is reflecting the whole process, okay? So we're going to be feeling different about things moving into the month of May, I do believe, but there's just a lot we're going through, you guys, emotionally on these internal levels as we go through this karmic release, this karmic clearing over this next couple days and over this next couple weeks. I do feel I meant to say earlier when I was talking about the position of Mars today and, you know, what we've got going on in terms of the symbolic representation of degree placement, there is kind of like a word of caution that I feel like I should put out there today. We do need to pay attention. We need to slow down. We need to, again, like stay out of like the heat of the sun, you know what I mean? Like stay off, like out of the heat of like the battle and stuff like that with the position of the earth. Mars at that degree, about at the railroad crossing, the automobile is wrecked, you know, by a train. We've also got the sun at 14 degrees of Aries today, a serpent coiling near a man and a woman. There could just be sort of like maybe some unseen threats or, you know, just some things kind of going on in the background that we kind of need to pay attention about. We don't want to be reckless, okay, today with our energy. We don't want to be, again, like too heated or just like too kind of aggressive about things. Like energy is calling for us to sort of take a step back and to, you know, if we feel like we are getting sort of whipped up in any type of way, like just take a time out for ourselves in kind of like a therapeutic self-care type of way. Mars in the sign of Cancer all month long. Well, actually these next 2 months while Mars transits Cancer, actively engaging in self-care, doing things for ourselves to like just make ourselves feel better, to nourish ourselves, to just make ourselves feel safe and comfortable. Like this is definitely going to diminish the internal conflict that Mars in the sign of Cancer can also represent. So that is very supported at this point in time right now as well. But generally, just want to kind of pay attention and slow down today. I feel like is indicated as Taurus. This is a slow, gradual sign. This energy is not the Aries energy. It's not like the burst of just like flame and explosion going everywhere. We're tempering things out. So that's what I have to say today, you guys, in terms of this energy. We've got, you know, a very significant week playing out again in terms of this transitional process that we are sort of going through internally on this emotional level. But our mind is definitely gearing us towards the future. And again, like people are just likely to be talking about what they have, their assets, their material possessions, or also what they want to build, what they want to create, what their plans are, what their goals are, and what they're going to do, what their ideas are about how to move forward, how to do things different, and like really like how to do things sort of in a brand new way. Fresh starts also on the horizon, you guys, like I've been saying this whole report. So that's what I'm gonna say in terms of the astrology today. Let's talk about the tarot for a minute. Again, you guys, like this energy is talking about there is a rebalancing going on. We are transitioning out of faulty mindsets and like faulty like realities that we've created for ourselves in alignment with things that we thought we wanted, that we've discovered at this point in time are not a true reflection of what we value, what we prioritize, and what we really want. Shifting preferences. That's another major indication and aspect that we have going on that's playing out throughout the course of this month of April. Changes in taste, shifting preferences, and sort of like just kind of like seeing things from a different perspective generally, especially again in relation to the past. So let's talk about the specifics, these cards that came out today. First of all, we got the 10 of Wands in reverse, followed by the 9 of Pentacles in reverse. This is talking about, you know, maybe something that we were pursuing or some commitment that we had or something that we were attached to or something that maybe we've been working towards for a long period of time, or even like some type of independence or status that we maybe had achieved or attained becoming a burden essentially that is weighing us down and that is no longer representing the sense of like personal freedom. Followed by the 6 of Pentacles and a need to balance things out, to rebalance things or create some type of different give and take in terms of the way that we're putting our energy out and what we're accepting for ourselves in one way or another. And then after that, we had a series of 3 cards that came out together: the Ace of Wands in reverse, the Queen of Swords in reverse, and the Nine of Cups in reverse. It's like, because without this reassessment of the give and take that's going on in the situation, it's never going to lead to like true wish fulfillment. Like, it's never going to lead to something that is truly fulfilling on a soul level and that is in alignment with like what it is we actually want. It's like we are realizing that if we don't make some type of change in a situation, we're never, like, what we have created, what we've committed ourselves to, what we've attached ourselves to, what we've dedicated to ourselves to, is never going to lead to what it is that we really want, because it's lacking a fundamental authenticity, it's lacking a fundamental truth, it's lacking a fundamental connection to like the truth of our passion. Okay, and then after that, we had the Hanged Man in reverse, followed by the Six of Cups. Like, this is talking, again, like this tarot spread right here, the way that I'm reading it, is talking about this shift in perspective in regards to the past somehow, or the choices or the decisions that we'd made in the past, or the past way that we'd seen or perceived ourselves that had us attached or committed to something that we thought we wanted, but as it turns out is not truly a reflection of our authentic truth, or of what we truly love, or of, you know, the nature of our heart, and therefore will never lead to this true wish fulfillment or this true experience of like genuine fulfillment, joy, or happiness. And so there's a need to sort of reassess, to rebalance, especially in regards to the give and take of the energy that we're putting out in relationship dynamics, or in situations where there's like a reciprocity type of energy, like a give and take. We really need to sort of reconsider, look at a different perspective of what we're getting, what we're receiving, and figure out if it's actually in alignment with who we are discovering ourselves to be now, in alignment with these authentic truths and this value and this potential and this fire burning within us, this passion of like the truth of our heart that is in many cases making itself known to us now as we are going through this period of time that is trying to open our eyes to what our soul has really come here to do, activate our destiny. This transition of ages, right? Calling us into our highest potential, self-actualization, transitioning into the age of Aquarius. So that's what I have to say about the tarot cards. That, I feel like, is the message that was coming out for us today, that wanted to be known in the context of also the astrology as it's coming through. Let's grab one more card now, you guys. God, Spirit, Universe. We need some advice, some guidance. Here it is. It says you can't change another. Okay, so these are synchronicity cards, and this is just what we should keep in mind in terms of whatever we are experiencing interpersonally with others today. Guidance, advice. You can't change another. Thou will keep him in perfect peace whose mind is stayed on thee. Isaiah 26:3. In your relationships with others, don't be possessive or try to make them do what you think they should do or act the way you think they should act. Never permit others to rob you of your peace of mind. Your peace and joy are in God, not in the words and actions of other people. Bless them and walk on. So as we are going through this process of releasing ourselves from past emotional attachments and rediscovering, you know, who we are and what we want to do and become next, we need to be focused, you know, on ourselves, on our own personal journey, on our own hero's journey, and not trying to sort of meddle or control or interfere or, you know, intervene in the situations of other people. The Chiron archetype, the wounded healer, teacher, master archetype, the hero's journey, leading through experience is the best way that we can help other people in this energy, because it's, at the end of the day, this process that we're going through now, it is an independent, personal process, and no one can do it for us. We have to decide to do it for ourselves, but a lot of times the inspiration for that is seeing somebody else go through that for themselves as well. So that is how we assist in this process. We are, you know, we lead through example, wisdom through experience, and just being that role model, that example, that guiding light for others. So that's what I have to say today, you guys, to open our week. Hope you guys liked it. If you did like it, please give me a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, share it with your friends if you think they would be interested or find this type of information relevant, helpful, useful as well. Leave me comments, you guys. guys, thank you guys so much for being here. So grateful for all of you. Love you so much. Really, I appreciate knowing how these energies are affecting you. If you are having experiences in alignment with what we have going on right now, please let me know in the comment section below and come back with me. Next time, you guys, we have more of this grand water trine energy going on. We've got the sun getting very close to Chiron. We've got Mercury building into conjunction with the North Node. We've got Jupiter coming into conjunction with the Eris point this week as well, you guys. Lots of energy coming up. We got a full moon coming in this weekend. I'll be here to talk about it. You should be here too. You don't want to miss it, you guys. I will see you next time. Have a beautiful day. And until then, bye guys.